What's going on, everybody? This is Right Now Podcast with J Rock and KJ.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody locked in and tuned in with us as we go ahead and start this episode. Today's going to be a special episode. We've got a special guest in the house with us tonight. Man, he's a philanthropist. He's a father. He's a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
He's an artist.
Mm-hmm.
He's an author.
Mm-hmm.
He's a doctrine. I mean, it can keep going and going and going. But let's welcome to the show, Mr. DJ Kayotik, man. We appreciate you to the show.
Thank you.
How you doing?
That's a warm welcome. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how we do it right now, huh?
That's how we do it.
Oh, yeah. That's how we doing it.
Right now.
Yeah. Welcome to the Right Now Podcast,
Thank
man.
You, family. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Appreciate you taking the time out and sitting down with us. That means so much to us.
No doubt. Yeah. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to sit down with y'all. So, I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
Everybody don't want to talk to me. So if you guys want to sit down and chop it up with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, based off your schedule,
right?
I appreciate you. I know it's hard to pencil you in because you are everywhere. When they say a man of many places, that is you.
I'm working.
Yeah,
I'm working. I'm on grind mode.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
But, I like to make my pit stops and sit down with brothers like yourself and chop it up and do some things. So I'm glad to be here, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you haven't, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and share. Also, if you haven't, make sure you go follow at DJ Kayotik, and that's DJ Kayotik.
With a K.
Man.
With a K.
Man.
Don't forget. With a K.
Yeah.
So before we dive into that, a lot about you, for those who may not know who you are, I know I told a little bit about you. Let's kind of dive into a little bit about who you really are and why you do the things that you do.
Okay. Well, I mean, you start off, you said I'm a philanthropist, DJ, doctorate, husband, father. Why do I do the things that I do? And also a former radio personality. I did a morning show for the last 15 years. So I'm a retired radio vet. I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of loves to give back to community. I'm a community guy. I'm a guy that comes from a impoverished background. So, I identify with my hood and any hood, the people in my hood and the things that they go through on a day-to-day basis, the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys, the highs and lows. So I'm that guy. I'm that kid that didn't have everything. And now that I'm in an adult phase and in a blessed situation, I'm devoted to giving back and being a philanthropist and again, being a man of the community and being someone they can relate to. I think it's important to be relatable to your community.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get into this space where they deem you as a celebrity, and being in a market here, being a radio personality makes you a celebrity, and it comes with responsibility. Being a international DJ gives you a whole wealth of responsibility. Being a father, being a husband, you adapt and you get responsibilities that comes with those titles. But as a philanthropist, as a community advocate, I have to be responsible to be able to not only identify my community, be relatable to my community, pour into my community, be accessible to my community. So that's me. I want to reach out and touch the people and make sure they see me and feel me and understand, I'm one of them.
Oh, yeah.
So when I do certain things like my back to school drive or my turkey giveaways, I have those conversations with the people and say, I was you. So I appreciate you humbling yourself to stay on this line to get a free turkey. I appreciate you bringing your son out here to get this free haircut, get this book bag full of, supplies that you may not need, because I was that kid that didn't have a book bag and needed supplies. I was a kid that didn't have the fresh haircut first day of school. So the things that I do in the community are things that impacted me growing up. It's part of my trauma, part of my childhood. And, again, now that I'm in a position where I can bless others, that's what gratifies me the most. I can be on all the stages in the world, but the most gratifying thing for me is to be in the community to give back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's huge. That's huge. You said a lot.
Yeah.
You said a lot right there. But I mean, when I say you say a lot, I don't mean word-wise, vocabulary-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just said a lot.
Yeah.
Because one thing I love when you say about the community, right? It's huge for the community to see somebody that looks like us doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when I say us, I mean, looks like us.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is exactly what you want to see, man, because if he can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely.
Right? So let's kind of dig back a little bit,
Okay. All right.
So I hear it in the voice a little bit. So you're definitely not from Texas.
I'm not from Texas.
Right.
Nah.
So you grew up in the East Coast.
I did. I'm from New York City, South Side, Jamaica, Queens, New York.
Oh.
Before y'all started anything, Yes, I'm a Giants fan. So
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
already look on the
Yeah,
walls.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry
It's okay.
sometimes too.
It's okay.
I mean, I
But-
get it.
But I'm the only Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. I'm from Cali. I'm from
so what's your team?
I'm the Chargers fan.
Okay, cool.
So
All
yeah,
right,
I'm
so
okay.
we on
okay.
even playing
We're
right
okay.
now.
Yeah, we bump
Okay.
heads all, once
Say
a
no
year.
more.
Once a year.
Once a year we'll bump heads.
We'll bump
Like,
heads.
but I talk
Yeah.
noise all year long.
Yeah.
As most Cowboy fans do.
We do.
Yeah,
And,
they don't really
that's
be doing nothing.
America's team.
It's just
You know,
a
what
whole
can
bunch
we
of
They
do?
just like
words.
to talk,
This is, yeah,
They talk about the historical data and
Yeah,
stuff
back in
like
the day,
that.
yeah.
Hey,
All the rings they had in
the
many
VCS
years
times.
ago.
Hey,
The VCR times.
It happens, but we're still the most talked about franchise, probably.
You are the number one franchise in the world. America's football team.
Yep,
Yeah.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
I mean, if I
know.
keep talking about myself all the time, then of course, everybody else is going to talk about me too.
I mean, yeah,
Sounds about right.
But
But enough about the Cowboys and nonsense. But New York,
Yes.
when did you decide to know that you wanted to kind of be that personality, whether it's radio, DJ,
Mhm.
whatever? How did you know this is what I want to do? Or who
did.
was there? I'm sorry, was there somebody that you saw? I'm like, man, this is it.
I didn't. Honestly, I'm a man of God first and foremost. So, I believe in design and I never understood what my purpose was. It kind of, it fell into my lap in the sense of, it was revealed to me as I progressed in life. So leaving New York, left New York, probably around age 20, I joined the military.
Okay.
So I was in the military. I'm a former Navy veteran. So
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I did the Navy for 4 years, got out, moved to Atlanta. When I moved to Atlanta, I became a promoter. I had the bug of being in Atlanta because in '94 I did Freaknik. So yeah, I was around that
Let me go
time.
check Hulu again.
Yeah, I'm not on that. I checked.
You checked? Hey.
I checked. Yeah.
But you was
Yeah.
like, I remember this and I remember that.
I did
though.
93 and 94. So, I fell in love with Atlanta at the time, and I felt like Atlanta was a spot that I wanted to go to. But during that time frame, my transition from the military going to Atlanta, my son's mother got pregnant. She's from Texas. She's from East Texas, Mount Pleasant area,
Okay.
Longview area. So Dallas was never on the radar for me, believe it or not, but I wanted to be closer to my son. So as a young, 22, 23-year-old struggling, trying to figure out, do I move to Texas? And no shade, at that time, all I thought about was cows and horses and who shot JR.
Yeah.
That's
That's what
when I-
everybody
oil.
thinks.
That's what I thought.
Oil fields.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I was like, I'm from New York City. I just couldn't fathom the idea of moving there, but I also struggled with the fact of being distant from my son. So long story short, I went to Atlanta, did a stint there, got into corporate America, moved around a little bit, and then went to the DMV area. I was living outside of DC and outside of VA. Reconnected with my son's mother, moved him up there, and kind of just tried to do the white picket fence dog kind of thing and get things in order. She wasn't happy out there, so I buckled down and said, let me move to Texas, but not East Texas. I moved to Dallas. So around 2003, 2004 timeframe is when I migrated to the Dallas area.
Okay.
And I was in corporate America, project manager actually. And but at that time, I still had the promoter bug in me. So this is before me hosting parties, DJing. None of that was in the realm of things. I just loved the party.
Right.
In Atlanta, when I was a promoter, I met a gentleman by the name of Nick Storm, who's a brand ambassador and a lifestyle influencer. And he was doing a brand called Hypnotic,
I remember him.
blue drink,
You mix it with the Henny, you get the Incredible Hulk.
Absolutely. So when I moved out here, I reached out to him and I got on board with them as a brand ambassador. And then ultimately the birth of Mr. Hypnotic came into play. So historically, most people knew me as Mr. Hypnotic in the market because around that time, 2003, 2004, I was in all the clubs getting everybody to drink Incredible Hulks. So now I'm the party guy. Every time you see me, I'm popping bottles. This is before popping bottles was really a thing. I was popping bottles of Hypnotic and Hennessy and everybody drunk. So that's how I was able to make my name in the market. And also, being a migrant, sometimes Texas won't welcome you, with open arms. But especially a New Yorker, But because I came with a different kind of flair, I did have the New York arrogance, but I was still the party guy. A lot of people embraced me and welcomed me into the market. So that was the birth of Mr. Hypnotic. Ultimately, I had that spill, and this is all in my book, which I know we're going to talk about briefly. But from Mr. Hypnotic I became a party host. Now you asked me a question of how did that happen? Um, from being a lifestyle guy, partying, getting people drunk, ultimately I ran into a young lady by the name of Vita Loca,
Hmm.
who's a veteran in the market from the
100%.
radio.
Yeah.
There was a club out here called Club X that she was hosting. We was doing a live broadcast, and at that time, I was still Mr. Hypnotic as a brand ambassador, and I was doing marketing promotions for the nightclub. I never touched the microphone at this time. I just knew how to party.
Yeah.
So she was running late, typical Vita.
Yeah.
And she was a little tardy for the party, and once she got there, she had a couple of incredible hosts, and Vita was feeling nice. And if anybody knows Vita Loca, when she get feeling nice, she's either gonna be ratchet on the microphone or disappear. It was one of the moments when she disappeared. So the owner was like, "Look, we need to keep the crowd going. I'm gonna need somebody to get on the microphone and make the announcements, get people to the bar, yada yada yada." Long story short, I jump on the microphone and just start doing what I do, getting the crowd hyped up, getting ready to the bar, passing out drinks, etc. She walks up and was like, "Yo, you have a great voice." I'm like, "Yeah, well, we paid you to do this job." She's like, "No, you do it." She's like, "You got a gift. You do it." So for the rest of the night, I hosted. That was the birth of Mr. Hypnotic, the MC.
Hmm.
So I evolved from brand ambassador, party guy, to now an MC.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually hosting parties. So I graduated to, from that club to clubs out here that some people might remember, daiquiri dumps and I mean, you name it. I touched the clubs out here. And ultimately, in around 2007, after hosting for a number of years, I felt like my voice was carrying the party, but I wanted complete control of the party. And what I mean by that is, and the DJs that I was working with hand in hand, we had great camaraderie and the vibe was there. But anytime I would ask them to play the new Jay-Z or the new Beyonce, and they'd be like, "I ain't got it." I used to be like, as a DJ, you gotta have the new records. Like, that's the purpose of being a DJ. Like, how you don't have the new joints? So at that point, I had a revelation. I was like, you know what? I want to take it to the next level. I want to evolve from being just an MC to now being a DJ. At this time, I think I had already made my way to K104. I did a contest to be the next host on radio. So I was full blown MC at this point, fully invested in, ready to leave project management, leave a boatload of money, and go to making $10 an hour. But that was my peace of mind. It was kind of my calling. I talked about God leading you, and I prayed on it. And sometimes, I tell people all the time, when you have that feeling in the pit of your stomach that just doesn't go away, that's Him communicating and telling you, follow my lead. Just trust me. Step out on faith. I stepped out on faith, walked away from project management, and went full blown with MCing, radio, etc. So fast forward, 2007 is here. I said, you know what? I'm gonna take a hiatus from hosting. I'm gonna teach myself how to DJ. Went and purchased some equipment. I reached out to some veterans in the market, the Steve Nices, the TDKs, DJ Phils, Kid Capri's, guys that I have relationships with that I've hosted with before that I knew wouldn't frown upon me by saying I want to take it to the next level, but they was also gonna give me the blueprint of saying, okay, if you're gonna do it, let's
do it right.
Let's do it right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the push button DJ. I didn't want CDJs. I didn't want the cheat codes. I wanted Technique 1200s. I wanted the turntables. I wanted to learn the art form of DJing. I wanted to learn on vinyl. So I sat down, got everything I needed to get. I reached out to Steve Nice and a couple other people and said, hey, how do I put the equipment together? And I put it all together, went in the lab and started working on my craft. About 6 months, worked on my craft and stepped out on faith, probably the end of the year. And my first debut party was at a spot called Opus Lounge, which is right above Purgatory, old club in Dallas.
Yeah.
And it's a true story. It's in the book. Debuted. Everybody was excited, ready for the debut because, again, I had so much hype as Mr. Hypnotic. So now that I'm coming out as DJ Kayotik, let me backtrack. The reason why I changed the name. So as I was Mr. Hypnotic on the radio, I received a cease and desist letter. Reason being, the name got bigger than the brand. So the liquor company was no longer happy with me utilizing the name. Even though I spelled it differently, they came and snatched it away from me, and they reached out to K104, who I was working with at the time, and said, he can't be on the air no more with that name. So they took me off the air for about 2 weeks and had to come up with a name. My mother is my foundation. My mother's my best friend. My mother is my superhero. Talk about it in the book as well. So I went to my mom to say, yo, we're in a dilemma. I can no longer be Mr. Hypnotic. I gotta change my name, but I also want to change what I'm doing. I want to evolve and become a DJ. I want complete control of the party from start to finish. I want to control the crowd. She said, all right, let me go to my think tank. So she came up with a couple different names, wasn't feeling it. But she always knew in my heart that I wanted to be a community leader. She know I wanted to be in that forefront of giving back.
Yeah.
So she said, I'm going to come up with a name for you that has meaning and a purpose behind it. Thus, she came up with the name DJ Kayotik, spelled K-A-Y-O-T-I-K, which was an acronym for my nonprofit organization. So when she came with the name for DJ, she came with the name for my nonprofit organization. So she gave me the blueprint for two different things I wanted to be at the same time. Blessing. So Chaotic is spelled that way because my government name is Kareem. So spelled Kareem's Alternative Youth Options to Improve Kids. So this method behind the madness. So when people say chaotic, they think I'm causing chaos in the club. There's a whole nother message behind it. So that's why I spelled that way.
That's deep.
Did you know that?
Not at all.
I did not know
It's
that.
hard.
So Kareem's
hard.
Alternative Youth Options to Improve Kids.
Man, it just
So
had to happen.
That was, God
Yeah.
lining things up
Like-
for me and revealing what my purpose would be down the line.
100%.
So the birth of DJ Chaotic, going back to Opus Lounge, I'm DJing this party, and I was not ready. Cat Daddy, another popular radio personality in the market, hosted the party. And true story, I debuted, I was nervous. I was so used to just relying on my voice. Now I had to rely on my hands and my voice. And I wasn't prepared to do both at the same time effectively. So I relied on him just to host, and I'm playing the records. And to this day, Cat Daddy has this joke. He says, Chaotic, you was not ready because you played the whole song of every song. So there was one song that was like a remix and it was like Gucci Mane on it. He looked back at me and was like, I didn't even know Gucci Mane was on that song.
That's hilarious.
So long story short, I tanked. It was a terrible debut. I felt defeated. I went back in the lab and I took another 3 months to really just
Own the craft.
and develop myself the way I needed to feel like comfortable to say, you know what, next time I step out, I'm gonna make everybody proud. And the ones that doubted me, I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. So when I stepped back out, sky's the limit. And that was the true birth of DJ Chaotic. And that's when I started getting club gigs. And then I got a residency at Beamers and Park Avenue. And,
I've been there.
the list goes on and on and on. So I did Beamers and Park Avenue for 10 years. Not too many DJs that had a 10-year residency with 2 or 3 nights a week, 5,000 people. This is when clubbing was clubbing before COVID.
Yeah.
So I was looking at 5,000 people every night on any given night. And I'm there Friday, Saturday, some Sundays, just blessed. So I tell people all the time, for the people that travel around the world and they go to Miami, go to Live on Sunday. There was a Live on Sunday in Dallas that people didn't realize, but it was happening every weekend.
Yeah.
We had a club out here that was probably one of the biggest clubs in the country and had the most bodies in the country and a partying crowd. One thing I can say about Texas and Dallas specifically, that time was a good time because people partied.
Y'all be dancing
The
out
phones
here.
wasn't in, the selfies and stuff wasn't in play.
Yeah.
So they partied.
Yeah.
So I miss
Sweaty.
those times.
Y'all be dancing out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, be dancing out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweaty, all that. Just,
Yeah.
But that was a good time though. I remember that time.
Absolutely.
I remember that all that pre-COVID dancing, having a good time. And
So it's a
no
little
cameras and
backstory
stuff.
of how, I shifted from Mr. Hypnotic to DJ
DJ
Chaotic
Chaotic, yeah.
to radio personality.
Yeah.
And then ultimately at that point, there was no growth. There was no, the ceiling was kind of low for me at K104. So I left there, relied on DJing as my primary finance, and took a year off and waited for an opportunity for 97 on the beat.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I joined them, and kind of the rest is history. I
Yeah.
joined them, and I joined them for a couple different reasons. I was told at K104, this is in the book too, by a gentleman by the name of White Gary. And he can't kill me because he knows it's in the book, and it is what it is. At that time, I was probably the hottest person in the club, hands down. And I say that humbly. And I felt like the opportunities that I wanted on radio weren't being presented to me. And obviously the different time slots were already staked by the certain people. And I was told, point blank, you'll never be this person. You can't tell somebody that. Man says no, God says yes.
Right.
So at that point, I decided to step away. And most people looked at me like, you stepping away from the radio station? I said, yeah. I stepped away, stepping out on faith once again, and saying, I'm going to trust my gut. I'm going to trust my talent, my God-given talent. And when you tell me I can't do something, it makes me more hungry to go do it. I took a year off, stayed in the club, stayed active, stayed persistent on reaching out to the program director and the music director and saying, hey, I'm here. And then once the clause was clear for me to be able to actually seek opportunities, I got that phone call. Next thing you know, I joined 97.9 The Beat. Rest is history from there. I did a weekend shift, and I shifted to morning show, working with Ricky Smiley. Then I got my own morning show. Then I did Morning Hustle, and 10 years, look back 10 years later.
Yeah. And that's good, man. And you're saying something that we've talked about a lot, because that's what I ended up doing, having to leave corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
Just stepping out on that faith.
Yes.
Right. You keep saying that gut feeling. I say that God feeling.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yes.
Right. It's just, it's there. You're hearing, you've been fighting it for a long time, and you just have to step out on faith. And that's the thing about it, once you overcome that fear and just go ahead and do it, because failure is going to happen regardless.
Absolutely.
Right. So you just got to know it's going to happen. So don't let that part, fear you. That shouldn't be it.
No.
So just go do it. Like the slogan of Nike, and realistically, that's really what it's about. And
Absolutely.
I had to do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it feels good. Like you said, you have those moments of fear and you need clarity. And I've just learned to pray more, throughout that journey. I had to pray more and truly, develop my faith, and strengthen my faith. And faith is challenging because you're reaching out and don't know what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Stepping out and don't know what's in front of you. But if you
it's
trust
hard.
God,
It's hard to believe in something you can't see.
Absolutely.
It's hard to really believe in something that how do you can't, you've never seen it, supposed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to really.
Yeah. But when that obedience kicks in,
man.
Yeah. You see it.
Hey, you see it, you feel it, you hear it, yeah. It's like situations where you go buy something and embrace you. Something told me not to buy it.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't something. That was God. Like, he told you. Yeah. You was too. You
don't
wasn't
need
listening.
that.
Yep. He sent you the sign and you didn't pay attention
No.
to it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there.
It's definitely there.
Facts.
Facts. Yeah. But so you said it a few times. You got this book coming out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. What's the title of the book?
Title of the book is "It Had to Happen." What's a man without a man? What's a man without a legacy?
What's a man without a legacy? It
Yes.
had to happen.
It had to happen.
It had to happen.
Yes.
And listening to everything that you were saying, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It had to happen.
Yeah, it had to happen. You don't plan things, and I've gotten out of space. Throughout that journey, Kareem Thompson / DJ Kayotik had to learn that he's not in control of anything. And I think when you're in a younger stage, you think you are in control. You think you bought that car. You think you woke yourself up this morning. You think you got that job. And throughout the journey, the ups and downs, highs and lows, the losses that turn into lessons, I realized I'm not in control. And the title of it, and What's a Man Without a Legacy, is when my world crumbled before my eyes. So the book itself is dedicated to my son who passed away when he was 18. Tragic drowning accident in 2015. And as you can imagine, it rocked me it to the core. And I spiraled. Depression, anxiety, you name it, I was there. Suicidal ideologies, I was there. Because again, I moved to Texas for my son. He was my world. So through that, my faith grew stronger. I remember it happened on Easter weekend that year, Saturday before Easter Sunday. And the first thing I did that Sunday after my son passed away was go to church. And my pastor pulled me to the side and he said, "Your son did his job. And I'm gonna show you how he did his job based on the people that he touched. God's gonna reveal that to you. But things that are happening to you, he brought you here for a reason. Your assignment is not done. You have a lot more work to do. And sometimes we go through things to bring you closer to him." And it literally brought me closer to God. So, as we talk about the journey and not paying attention to the signs, I still think I was coasting. I was coasting as DJ Kayotik and excited about the fame and the fortune that came with it. But as a father, I missed a lot of opportunities to be the father, the present father. I missed a lot of football games, basketball games. I was chasing the bag. And, growing up how I grew up, I wanted to be everything opposite of what my father was for me when he was in my life. And I felt like if I'm a financial supporter, then I'm doing my job. And I realized you can't get time back. And when my world crumbled, I was wishing I can get that time back, all the time that I missed to be the father that I wanted to be, except outside of what my father was for me. So, you can imagine just as a father, when you lose your child, it shook me. And I had to learn how to pray, how to grow my faith, how to trust, how to get understanding, how to get clarity. But I went through it, and like I said, it's the book itself is dedicated to my son, and it's written like a movie. So it starts off with the loss of my son, and I backtrack. As I'm driving it, as my wife is driving in the car, and we're driving to East Texas from Dallas, I'm reflecting back on my life, from childhood trauma, everything I went through as a child with my parents. Fast forward to adulthood, to present day, and then beyond.
Yeah.
And I will say it's I think when we talk about what's a man without a legacy, just to dive into that a little bit, as a father and having a son, the first thing I think about when I say legacy is someone to carry my name.
Yeah.
And that stopped for me. I have 2 daughters now, but who said they may get married? So there's no real chance that the name may carry on. So it's kind of a stopgate for my name going on. So for me, when I talk about what's a man without a legacy, my focus now is making sure that my son's name lives on. The things that I'm doing in the community is so impactful that my name rings bells in a different way. Not as DJ Kayotik, but as Kareem Thompson, Dr. Kayotik, Dr. Kareem Thompson, however you want to frame it, of what kind of impact can I leave on this earth so people remember the things that I did in honor of not just me as a man, as a father, as a husband, but also for my son. So a lot of the events that I do, the back to school events, turkey giveaways, are in honor of my son, because I want to make sure that his legacy is felt, even though he's not here in the flesh, he's here in the spirit.
Yeah.
So that's where the title came from.
Yeah, and that's the long live the kid.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
So when I say it had to happen, God humbled me and crumbled me in order to bring me closer to him. That had to happen. I wouldn't have identified who was in control. I wouldn't have identified how strong my faith needed to be. I wouldn't have identified the makeup he put in me as far as the strength, the will, the win, the resilience.
Yeah.
And I still ask to this day, why did you make me this way? Why did you make me this strong?
Yeah.
But then, things are revealed and they continue to be revealed on, even with my foundation, the growth of it and things that we're going to focus on moving forward, like mental health, because I've struggled with it so much. I've seen adolescents struggle with it so much. Our adults struggle with it so much. Military veterans struggle with it so much. He's revealed to me the true purpose of my foundation.
Yeah.
I still have the staple events I'm going to do, but now we're going to focus on mental health. I'm looking at our community, adolescents, mid-adults, struggling. The mistakes that they're making because mentally they're just going through different things. Whether it be COVID, whether it be financial woes, whether it be just your living conditions. Again, that's where it becomes, how can DJ Kayotik, Kareem Thompson be relatable? Well, if I share my story with the people, they can understand, yes, I've been through it. Some people talk about, I got out the mud. When my book comes out, they'll understand what the mud really is.
Everybody mud don't look the same.
It does not. And the thing is, I think this new generation,
Using the dirt, not the mud.
Yeah.
It's different.
Just topsoil.
Yeah,
It's just some wet
this
topsoil.
new generation, scares me, because it's being a radio personality, a former radio personality, I can identify with programming. And our kids, our black and brown kids specifically, are being programmed that certain things are normal. Suicidal thoughts is normal.
Yeah.
Depression is normal, and it's not. And if you're feeling that way, our black and brown community has to understand it's okay to go seek therapy and help.
Yes.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
It's vital, it's important. I did it. So, as black men, sometimes we frown upon therapy. Nah, therapy is what got me here and
and that's because as black men growing up, we couldn't talk to our dad. You couldn't do none of that.
Absolutely.
Because for a few reasons. Either he wasn't there, or Man, quit all that talk.
With
You know,
all
go
that,
out there.
yeah, sound like a girl
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah,
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, so I've learned through this journey of understanding my pain, understanding my purpose, turning my pain into my purpose, identifying my emotions, being transparent. You know, that's one of the things that I pride myself on, being transparent. When I've gone through this stage of my life of trying to heal, and I'm still healing, you know, I utilize social media because my son was an advocate of social media. It became my space of that was my way of communicating to him.
Yeah.
So I started putting up inspirational posts, motivational posts daily. And people thought it was about them, but it was really about me and just me communicating with him and sharing my pain and trying to just cope with things. And then as I kept going on and it became an assignment. And then the one day when I didn't put up a post, somebody slid in my DM like, "Where's the post at?" And then I realized I have a responsibility.
Yeah.
People need to hear it.
People need to.
Yeah, that you may not know it, but people are reading, listening, and they need to hear it.
Yeah. So you never know what role he has for you and what and how he's going to utilize you as a vessel.
Yeah.
And I take the responsibility to the heart. You know, when he gives me an assignment now, it's just like, okay, what do I have to do today, God?
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready.
How you said, you know, God had to humble you and he crumbled you at the same time. You know, like I always tell people, I was like, well, he did to his son. Why wouldn't he do it to you?
To his son,
right?
Absolutely.
You know, at the same time, like you can't question it,
No.
right?
No.
But you want to,
Yeah.
right? There's this song I love by Shekinah Glory. It's called "Broken," but it says, you know, hey God, you know, how could you use me when you know this and that about me? And it's because you still got work to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm doing this because your test.
He knows you. He knows
Yeah.
exactly how he can use you.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thankful through it all, despite the losses, despite the lessons, the painful ones that he's using me and continues to use me. And I'm growing more in my faith. The book itself is part of my healing. You know, it took me 10 years to put it all together. I had been talking about it probably 3 years after my son passed away, talking about it. And that feeling in my stomach just never went away. And end of 2023 is when I said, you know what, I'm gonna really start working on this and dive into it. And he just led me to a phenomenal ghostwriter, D Porter, who helped me write the book. And I just voice noted a lot of stuff and poured my heart and soul into it. And it came out to be a phenomenal piece of work. I tell people for this book, and I don't want to give too much about it, is if you're looking for motivation, inspiration, faith, understanding God and how he utilizes you and keeps you moving and going, how he'll keep you from going left and going and staying right or going straight. For parents out there that may have lost a son, a daughter, this book is for you. If you're looking for an understanding of not giving up on yourself, not giving up on God, operating in faith day in, day out, this book is for you. Motivation, this book is for you. Like I said, just being resilient. Just I could have gave up so many different times, and by the grace of God, I did not. And as I was talking earlier, this generation now, besides the mental health stuff, I just feel like suicide is a big deal right now. And I see our youth just giving up. And if they read my book, I can show you what not giving up looks like. I'm a walking testimony. I'm proud to say that. And I feel like once I share that story with the people out here, there's somebody that may be feeling like I'm getting ready to go over the edge. If they pick up my book and read my book, maybe I can save their life. For that parent that lost their child, you feel like you're by yourself. Read my book. Now you know you're not alone. That pain is never going to go away. But we're in a class and a league by ourselves. But now you know you're not
alone.
by yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and that goes with grief, period. You know, it talks about grief a lot, you know, and all
There's no
type of
time
grief.
limit on it.
There's no time limit at all.
There's not an expiration date because a lot of people think, man, there's not an expiration date.
No.
And if anybody tells you that, then
That
you know they need to.
most likely
Yeah,
haven't
I
been
talked
through
about the
those
dark
type of
moments
situations.
of grieving and feeling like I'm alone. I talked about the moments where you feel like everybody's supposed to grieve like you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You set expectations on people and expect them to
Yeah.
call you and reach out.
Yeah.
And then when they don't do it, it's like
Expectations
you
are.
got to lower them expectations and
Man,
realize people grieve differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talk about all that. So I learned a lot through my grief, through my pain, and I'm still learning. So 15 chapters. I'm excited. I'm excited. The book comes out September 11th. I did pre-orders. I announced the book itself on the anniversary of my son's passing. So 10-year anniversary, which was April 4th, 2025. I did the pre-order. So the book is out for pre-order, and the actual book itself will come out September 11th.
And how can they order?
They can go to the website, ithadtohappen.com. Ithadtohappen.com. Pre-order the book now. I'm going to release the final book cover in the coming weeks. I got some bells and whistles being added to it. Hint, hint. So I'm excited about that because it's one thing where, most people may know me as DJ Kayotik, 50 Cent celebrity DJ. So they may gravitate to that standpoint, but I want them to know the man behind that name. I want them to know Dr. DJ Kayotik, doctorate of humanitarianism and Lifetime Achievement Award from the president, things of that nature that people don't understand. I've worked hard in this community to get to that point, and I'm continuing to work hard. So, like I said, there's a method behind the madness. So I'm excited for people to learn who I am, what I am, and why I am. Is what I'm telling people.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and we are gonna go ahead and purchase 5 books.
Oh man,
the podcast, so
Thank
that
you.
way we can give them out
Thank
as
you.
well too, because we do a lot of giveaways as
Thank
well.
you.
So I'll make sure that we give out a few of those for sure on the show to a bunch of listeners that tune in and stuff
Thank
like
you,
that
my
as
brother.
well. So absolutely, man.
Thank you. And the pre-order ones are going to be signed copies. So that's one of the things that I did. I wanted to make sure that anybody that pre-orders the book now, they'll be signed copies. So get them while I'm signing them. So because that signature might be a little more expensive later on down the line.
Hey, yesterday's price, bro. What do you say? Yesterday's price ain't today's price.
Yeah. So
by
for sure,
that time,
man.
it's gonna
Thank
be
you, my
crazy.
brothers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, again, man, congrats on everything.
Yes,
and,
thank you.
I mean, the testament behind of not giving up and stepping out on faith is everything. I'm excited to read the book. I feel the energy now.
Yeah.
Just off of that. So I'm ready for it.
And one tidbit, obviously, again, I mentioned 50 Cent. For most people that may not know, 50 Cent and I, or Curtis and I, are childhood friends.
Yeah, I was gonna dive into it.
Okay,
I was
my
gonna,
bad.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
we ain't wrapping up.
Okay,
We,
all
yeah,
right,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right,
yeah. So
yeah,
I was gonna
yeah.
dive. That was gonna be.
Okay.
I was gonna make the
Oh, you had to
transition.
say, okay,
Yeah, I
my
was
bad.
gonna make
My
the
bad.
transition.
All right.
So you
Let
were
me
bringing
Could've
up.
jumped in when
Let me let you do what you do right now.
Yeah. So you brought up 50,
Okay. Yes.
50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, 50
Yes.
Curtis, 50 Cent Jackson a few times.
Mhm.
So you say you're his DJ. That's how
Yes.
some people may know you.
Yes.
So how did I was going to ask that question, but now I know. But now let's I can add that out now. How did you actually link up with Mr. Curtis 50 Cent?
Biff
Jackson?
and I are childhood friends, so I know him as Boo Boo.
Okay.
So that's how far back we go. I knew Fifth since age 10. So before all the fame and all the good stuff, he was Boo Boo in the hood. The gambler, the hustler. That's the guy I grew up with. Obviously, throughout the years, we parted ways. He went his way in the direction of being the hip hop mogul that he is today, and I went on my own journey. But throughout the years, we would bump into each other from time to time, and it's always been love. My mother and his grandmother, Miss Beulah, may she rest in peace, were church members together. So in the book, I talk about it as well. In 2007, when Fifth had the party for his mom's and his grandmother at the house in Connecticut, the Mike Tyson house, my mother was there at the big party and sat down with him. Full circle when Fifth and I got together to go on tour. I brought the story up and pulled up a picture of his grandmother that he never saw before, and a picture of me, my mom, and him. And he was like, "That's your mom?" I'm like, yeah. So it just came full circle.
Wow.
But I say that so 10 to 15, we're both in Southside Jamaica, Queens. We're in the same hood. 15 on, I'm a basketball player. He's the neighborhood drug dealer. Everybody knows the story of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Fast forward, 2019, I am at 97 on the Beat morning show, Vita Loca morning show this time. So now I'm on my own morning show with Vita Loca. And I go to Chicago for a boot camp. And as I'm in Chicago, Fifth is in town doing a party for Power. This is when Power just now is bubbling.
Yeah.
So I say, you know what? The homie's in town. Let me go to this party, see if I could bump into him and just congratulate them on all success. You know, like I said, every time we bump into each other, it's never he's green. Nah, he don't know Chaotic.
Yeah.
So 2019 with Chicago, I run into him. I go upstairs to the VIP. It's a security guard sitting there. I'm like, boo. He's like, he's like, Kareem, what's up? So what you doing here? I was like, yo, I'm a radio personality. He's like, you on radio? I was like, yeah. I was like, got my hair, just doing a morning show boot camp, blah, blah. So we just talked about old times. I congratulated him, gave him his flowers, and said, yo, I'm so proud of you. And every time I saw him, I would tell him how proud I am of just his success. Where we come from, I would have never imagined that he would be the guy that he is today.
Yeah.
So to see that success is, it's phenomenal. So I will always praise and give him and say, you know what, I'm giving you flowers. So we sat there, we talked for a good hour or two. That was it. Fast forward, a guy named Renee, who does all his music side, on the G-Unit music side, was a good friend of mine through radio. So at this time, Fifth is not only doing Power, he's introducing his Branson Cognac and Le Chemin du Roi, which is the champagne. So now he's in the spirits game. This is after the F and vodka stuff and all that good stuff.
I'm gonna bring this up.
Yeah, so that's the champagne right there, Le Chemin du Roi.
Say it again.
Yeah, Le Chemin du Roi.
Is that what you thought?
It's called the King's Path.
Fucking
Yeah.
the King's what?
The King's Path.
The King's Path.
Yes.
I
Le
like
Chemin
that.
du Roi.
I feel like you guys have a lot of clever things going on with your
so he has
branding.
the Branson Cognac and then he has the champagne, Le Chemin du Roi, the King's Path. So I get the phone call from Renee, and at this time, they have decided they want to do kind of a DJ program to have brand ambassadors for his spirits. So Renee reaches out to me and says, hey, we're interested in bringing you on to represent Dallas as a brand ambassador. Given my history of being Mr. Hypnotic, they know I know how to move spirits.
Yeah.
I'm
My
well
side.
educated in the spirits game.
Yeah.
You know, and
On
being a
both
brand
sides,
ambassador and
spirits
lifestyle
and
and a
spirits.
lifestyle
Spirits,
specialist.
yeah.
So it was kind of a win-win. So not only am I a DJ on the radio, a morning personality, but also I can move some liquor.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm coming to the market. Fifth is coming to the market. We're going to meet downtown. I need you to meet him. So I'm like, Renee, this is Boo Boo. I know Boo Boo. You know, when he sees me, he's not going to know DJ Chaotic. So I'm like, that's Kareem Thompson from Southside. Renee's like, yeah, all right. He hears this all the time. Everybody knows Boo Boo. So this is in the book
Everybody
too.
knows Boo Boo.
And this is one of the funniest stories we talk about all the time. I say, Renee, I'm telling you right now, when he sees me, he's going to be like, yeah, that's Kareem Thompson. He's like, oh, yeah. So we're at the Statler downtown. This is when the Statler just opened up, the new hotel downtown. And he's doing the little bowling thing, a bowling event down there. So I go down to the Statler. Renee comes to grabs me up and says, all right, we're going to go to this hotel room. I'm like, bet. So we on the elevator. He's like, hi, Chaotic. I'm gonna introduce you to Fifth. I'm like, bro, for the last time, me and Boo Boo are childhood friends. When he sees me, he's going to say, that's Kareem from Southside. My mother, my grandmother and his mother go to church. And he's like, yeah. So it opens the door. Renee's like, DJ Chaotic, 50 Cent. He's like, DJ Chaotic? Man, that's Kareem Thompson from Southside. So then he was like, you must really be a good DJ if Renee's bringing you to me. I said, yeah, I told you. And he's like, I remember we talked in Chicago. I was like, yeah. So long story short, I joined the team. I became the brand ambassador. At that point, I'm just working the liquor side, just before I'm even DJing for him. Fast forward, a couple events came to play. He had a show in San Antonio. His DJ at the time was not traveling. It only made sense because we did a party at Park Avenue, and I did a full 50 Cent set there. So he knew I got busy.
Yeah.
He saw it firsthand. So he was like, yo, since Chaotic's in the market, I'm not flying my guy here. He can come do the set in San Antonio. This is my first time DJing for 50 Cent, my childhood friend. I'm like, okay, we got motion. Now, you can never crack the door open with a New Yorker or anybody that's passionate about that.
About what they do.
I'm an artist and I'm serious about my shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the door was cracked. Not that I was trying to take the next man's situation, but I definitely wanted the opportunity to just
That's what it's about.
showcase my talents.
Yeah.
So we had our first show and it was flawless. Energy, vibe. We just was in sync. And you wouldn't expect the fact that I've never did anything with this man. And we have opportunity to just vibe with each other. So that was a blessing within itself. So then after that, fast forward, he announces the Final Lap Tour. So I reached out to Renee and said, hey, I know the Final Lap Tour is going on. I'm still the Branson guy. I'm still the Le Chemin du Roi guy. But I said, yo, if I need an opening DJ, I'm your guy. Let me rock the crowd and get everything warmed up, and then y'all do what y'all do. Renee was like, I don't know if it's going to be an opportunity for that, but if it does open, if the opportunity presents itself, I'll let you know. Fast forward. I get a call probably about 4 or 5 shows after the Final Lap tours already started. His DJ at the time was causing some issues. They was having some problems, and didn't know throughout this juncture that Fifth was already having issues with him over the course of years. Never knew this. So I get the phone call to fly to Atlanta to come watch the show. I don't know what's going on. I just get the call, yo, come, bro wants you to come out here, check out the show, this and another. So I go to Atlanta, watch the show. I go backstage. I'm like, yo, the show's crazy, bro. I'm proud of you, blah, blah. He's like, did you watch the show? I'm like, yeah. He's like, good, now learn it. Because if he keep effing up, you're gonna replace him. So I look back, DJ standing right there like, me mugging me. I was like, now, what do I say at this point? The New Yorker in me, the
Say
South
less.
Side person in me, this is my childhood friend. My response was, say less, bro. Whatever you need, I got you. So what he didn't know, and most people didn't know, is at that point, that's when the passion kicks in, that feeling in the pit of the stomach kicks in and says, you know what? Preparation is everything. You gotta prepare by prayer. And I want to be fully prepared for if the opportunity presented itself, I will be ready.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the people on the team because at this point, I'm fully acclimated with the team itself. I reached out to the videographer and said, yo, get me all the footage from every show. And I studied every show, even the DJ's errors, even the DJ's call-outs. Everything that he did, I perfected and learned it. Every mistake he made, I knew what the mistakes were. So if I ever got the call, I'll be fully prepared for the opportunity. So now he comes to Dallas, and I just go watch the show. I take my wife and I take my daughter to the show. They get to meet Uncle 50. You know, at this point in time, they didn't really understand who 50 Cent was. And then it all came together. You know, they saw Power, but seeing Uncle 50 on stage, it was just like, that's how Uncle was like, yeah, it's Uncle 50. You know, because he's bro to me.
Yeah.
So he go backstage and he didn't worry about me. He grabbed my wife and kids. It's just love because this is no industry. It's family. He's like my brother. So I told him I enjoyed the show. The kids enjoyed the show. It's their first concert they've ever been to. I didn't think nothing of it. You know, the pit of my stomach, I'm like, that ship has sailed. My wife, praying one was like, nah, she a New Yorker. She's like, nah, it's gonna come. I'm telling you, just stay the course. I'm like, all right. I was like, but I'm not praying on no man's downfall. Like, in my mind, I was like, he's not gonna make the same mistakes he's been making. Fast forward, I'm in Dubai, DJing an annual event that I did out there, and this is Memorial Day weekend. I get a phone call. Fifth is in Sacramento at the time. This is right after the situation that he had with the microphone. So the next show, he had another situation with the DJ. I get a call. It's probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, Cali time. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning, Dubai time. And I get the phone call, and it's his lawyer. He's like, Kayotik, your brother want to talk to you. He gets on the phone. Reem, where you at? I'm in Dubai, bro. He's like, I need you here. Where? Cali. When? Yesterday. I said, what? He said, hold on. He puts lawyer back on the phone. Lawyer's like, yeah, we need you out here. We need you to get on tour. So now I'm scrambling. I got a commitment here to be, this is like a Saturday and I got to be there till Tuesday. So I'm trying to figure out how can I make this happen? I want to honor my agreement here, but I'm looking at flights. I'm calling my wife. I'm like, so I call her. I said, baby, we got the call. She half asleep. I'm like, baby, we got the call. She will call. I was like, Fifth, call me. She wake up. What? Huh? I'm baffled. Like I really got the call. So we looking at flights, and then I stopped, I paused, I prayed, and I said, I can't leave this promoter that I've been working with high and dry. I gotta remain professional. So I called the lawyer back and said, I'm not gonna be able to get there till Tuesday. I'll meet y'all on the road if that's possible. If that's gonna be okay with you. He's like, all right, bet. Change your flight, meet us here on Tuesday, get you the room, and get everything sorted out from there. So I flew directly from Dubai to Seattle, Washington. Now, mind you, this is August, going into September time frame, Labor Day weekend. I'm sorry, I said Memorial Day, Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
And it's cold in Seattle, getting chilly.
Raining.
All I got is flip-flops and shorts. So when I land in Seattle, I got to buy a whole new wardrobe, get a whole new bag, everything else. The blessing of it all is that I'm now in a position financially to be able to afford those things, where I can remember when I couldn't change a flight that fast. I couldn't go somewhere and buy luggage and fill it up with new clothes. Those blessings that I'm just thankful for. So here I am. It's the first week of September, And now I'm joining the Final Lap Tour. I am now becoming 50 Cent's official DJ. This is September 2023. I debuted a few weeks later at the Mirror and the DJ, and the rest is history. I went from a kid from Southside Jamaica, Queens, that moved around locally, went to Dubai and Cancun and Jamaica and a couple other places, to visiting over 30 countries, doing 103 dates, seeing the world, celebrating the 25th anniversary or 20th anniversary of Get Rich or Die Trying with my childhood friend.
We gotta give that up again.
Yeah, I give up for that.
That's
Yeah,
huge,
that's
man.
huge.
That's huge. That's huge.
All
man.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
All God. I can't take any credit for that. When you stay the course, when you operate in faith, when you're obedient in the word, and you trust, he unravels things that you can't imagine.
Can't even imagine. Can't fathom.
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
And I
Fred
still,
Hammond said in the song, "Your ways are so beyond me."
yeah,
And it's facts. Like, it's just,
he makes the impossible possible.
Yeah.
And I look back now and reflect back, and I look back at past videos and the stages that I touched, from crowds from 30,000 to 40,000, 60,000 to 100,000 crowds. And I tell people to this day, I was living out my son's dream. I didn't mention that my son was a DJ. I taught him how to DJ, and he was supposed to take over for me. When he passed away, I was going to quit. And he spoke to me and said, "You can't quit. You got to continue to live on." And I tell people all the time, I'm living in a nightmare, but I'm also living out his dreams. He had dreams of touching stages that I couldn't even imagine, and now I did it on his behalf. So throughout the entire Final Lap Tour, from September to the end of the tour in December of the following year, all those countries, all those stages that I touched, I was there in the flesh, but Dante was there in the spirit. He touched those stages. He DJ'd the Final Lap Tour. So I'm thankful for it, bro. And with that being said, when we got off tour, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I had to step out on faith, and I quit radio. Oh, I didn't mention that during that, I had to call the radio station and say, "I'm not coming back right now. I'm going on tour." And by the grace of God, they said, "Your spot will be here when you get back. When you do good work,
you do it right.
Yeah.
do it right."
Yeah.
The opportunity. So when I got back, I sat down with the powers that be, and I just didn't want it anymore.
It wasn't there anymore.
I said, he's elevated me,
Yeah.
and I have to keep elevating. And then once again, I mentioned again, my entire life has been stepping out on faith. In the younger years, I didn't understand what stepping out on faith was. Now I do.
Yeah.
True story. And when I stepped down from radio, I was struggling with how am I going to do medical and dental for my wife and kids. That was my W-2 job. That was my
Yeah.
But I'm a
That's
veteran.
a lot of people's
Yeah.
reason for not letting go of that safety net.
I'm a veteran that suffered from PTSD, depression, anxiety, you name it, I got it, injuries. And the day I stepped down from radio was a Friday. Throughout this entire time, 20 some odd years, I have been going back and forth with the VA, working my case to get 100% disability. I can't make this up. I quit radio on Friday with my wife and I saying, okay, we're gonna have to look at Obamacare and things of nature to figure out how do we offset the situation. On Monday, I logged into the VA website, 100% disabled. Family is covered. God.
That's it.
Always.
I cannot make this stuff up.
That's it.
You walk out on faith and step out on faith and just trust. He will make the impossible possible. So when people talk about doubts and questioning God, and I go back to the book of I'm a walking testimony of trusting him wholeheartedly. Giving to, we have a habit of praying for things, asking God for things, seeking clarity, giving him something and saying, here, God, take it. And then that fear will make you snatch it right back.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned to give it to him and just leave it there. He'll answer when he's ready to answer, or when you're ready for it. When you're ready for the blessing, he'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared for the blessing.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize it's a blessing. If it comes with a catch, then that's the enemy playing tricks on you. He can give you the same blessing, but it comes with
comes with something
Fine
behind
You
it.
owe
print.
me
Yeah,
something.
something behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something behind it. Yeah, because the enemy. I mean, the enemy's not gonna come like the enemy. Otherwise, you
You won't
wouldn't.
know
He's
it's
in
the enemy.
disguise.
Yeah.
He's in
Yeah,
disguise. He
yeah.
can give you the same thing you prayed
Yeah,
for,
100%.
but it comes with the
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to do this.
You'll have to do something out of control.
Yeah. A blessing doesn't come with an IOU. There's no
belong-
IOUs to God.
because it belongs to you.
Yeah. Oh, there's no strings
Yeah.
attached to a
It's
blessing.
yours.
Yeah, your word blessing.
Yeah,
So- That's the spill of
Yeah.
Mr. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and
Yeah.
how we reunited, and the rest is history. Like I said, I stepped out on faith and quit radio, and I had a conversation with him while we was on tour, and I told him I was going to leave, and he's like, "Why?" And I just told him, I just want to step out on faith and do different things. And I said, "I don't know what you have planned, but if you need me, I'm here." There was no plan of me continuing on. We've continued on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And haven't stopped.
What?
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And now we're getting ready to go back overseas.
That's huge.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
We're getting ready to do another tour. So, God.
Man, nothing but God.
God.
So that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Making sure that you give honors where honors is due,
Hmm.
and not trying to make sure it's about you. And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of us people can do. Hey, I've been fighting. Well, again, really, you have been putting in the work, but if it wasn't for God, that door wouldn't have been there for you.
I wake up every morning, I pray over my daughters and my wife, and I say, thank you for God waking me up this morning. Give me an opportunity to be better than what I was yesterday. At that point, I ask him, what's my assignment for today? I know I'm not in control. There's somebody that didn't wake up today. There's somebody that can't brush their teeth. There's somebody that can't do the same things that I'm able to do. So I don't take any of it for granted. I'm just thankful for every opportunity, every blessing, every lesson, the wins, the losses, because the losses turn into lessons.
lessons,
And I seen
yeah,
y'all talk
yeah,
about it on previous shows.
Yeah.
Yes,
Them
sir.
losses are just lessons.
Yeah.
You have to recognize it. And there's teachings in that. Anytime I've had a loss, I've learned how to read it now. Like, okay, God, what you telling me?
Mhm.
You talking to me right now. Let me pay close attention.
Yeah.
Whereas in the younger years, it would fly right by.
Right
me.
by you. One and out the other, as my
And
mom would
like,
say. Yeah.
This is an open book test and you gonna fail.
Yeah. Oh, they on something.
Yeah.
No, what is the lesson? There's a lesson in here.
Mhm.
I take your time and analyze what you did, where your best steps were, move forward from there.
So, I just pay attention more, as you continue to elevate, the enemy attacks more. He can't get to you directly. He goes to your circle.
Good man.
I'm learning all that.
Man,
you
attacks
know.
it hard.
Attacks coming.
Yeah,
So,
because he does not like it when you're joyous. He does not like it when it's not going his way.
no,
Yeah.
not at all.
At all.
At all.
Man, especially when he thought he already had a hand on you.
Absolutely.
Nah, you don't.
Absolutely.
Man, especially when he already thought he had his hand on you.
Yeah.
It gets even worse.
Yeah.
Man.
So I'm learning that. So, like I said, I'm thankful. I'm blessed. I'm humble. Throughout all this, I remain humble. I've learned to glorify his name day in, day out, and just follow his lead. People can look at the things that I have going on and think I'm a leader, but no, I'm being led. I'm thankful for being led. I'm thankful that he's using me to be a leader in the community.
Yeah.
But I'm being led.
Yeah. That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key right
Yeah.
there. That's the key right there. Make sure you're being led in order to lead.
Absolutely.
Right? Because
Absolutely.
how could you actually be leading if you don't got nobody? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Can't be a leader if you don't know how to follow.
Yeah.
Gotta be able to
Yeah.
follow.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm only gonna follow one.
One person.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna follow him.
Yeah.
If ands or buts.
Yep.
That's huge, man. Again, I appreciate you sitting down. But so real quick before I don't know how much time we
I'm good.
got. So talked about you got two
Daughters.
daughters. I got a daughter.
Yeah.
Me
I'm a
too.
girl dad now.
My man
Girl
got
dad.
my man
Girl
got
dad.
my
Girl
man got
dad.
a
Girl
daughter
dad.
also.
Girl
So we
dad.
all
Okay.
sitting here girl dads, right?
Yeah.
I was chopping it up with him earlier outside before we got on the show. I was like, man, I was listening to somebody else talking. It kind of thought of something, right? Back in these kids nowadays, they're not gonna get to have the same things that we had, right? Yourself, me, well, unfortunately, we got daughters, right?
Yes.
But there was something about that excitement of going to go holler at somebody, right? you know what I mean? It was something about going to
get the
go
number.
hollering at somebody and having
hitting that piece of
Yeah,
paper.
it was
Hey.
something about that, right?
Yes.
And nowadays they don't have to do that, right? And it was also about it taught us, because we had to pick up the phone and call. It wasn't cell phones.
Mm-mm.
We're calling, and No telling who's about to answer that phone. It could be your mom or dad. And you got to, hey, Miss So-and-so.
Yes.
There had to be respect from the jump.
Yes.
Customer
And-
service voice at
Hey,
14.
yeah.
Yes.
Respect from the jump in these kids. And I feel like, they're missing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're missing that.
One of the things, the things that I do with my daughters, and I've kind of instilled in them, I'm trying to show them what a man looks like.
Mm.
And obviously it starts with how I treat my queen. I remember in their younger years, and now they've become accustomed to it. I'm the guy where chivalry is not dead.
Yeah.
I'm opening the doors for them. I'm making sure they understand I'm gonna pull their seats out. I'm that guy. And I tell them all the time, even if we're walking on the street, we do our daily walks as a family. You walk on the inside, I walk on the outside. And they'll question it, and I say, if a little boy that comes to try to holler at you is not doing this, he's not for you. And it took some training, and now it's so pleasurable to, if we're going to a restaurant or we're going to the car, they stand and they just wait. And I love it. It's like you've learned and you're learning.
Mhm.
But does not mean that they ain't letting these little boys try to slide in their DMs. This generation is well more advanced than we were.
Way more.
Yeah.
It's scary having daughters.
And like
Yeah.
you said, they putting stuff out there.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to happen.
It's scary.
wild.
And from the TikToks to the Instagrams, it's scary. And I'm learning now more than ever, because I have a 12-year-old and 13-year-old. I'm having to be more present, not just aware of let me see your phone.
Mm-hmm.
What you got going on? Because once you lose that sense of trust with your child, people, my daughters see me as the cool dad. But I've had to scale that back a little bit and be like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I want you to be fearful of me the way I was fearful of my wife's father. See, my wife and I dated when I was 15 in high school. I heard her. That's part of the book as well. I heard her. But I knew how it was.
She East Texas girl.
No, my wife.
Oh, I'm
She's from
sorry.
New
Yeah,
York.
I'm sorry. Yeah, New York. Yeah,
She's from New York. We was in high school together. So in my mind, I was high school. We was high school sweethearts. In her mind, I was the guy that heard her in high school. But I remember that first date when I wanted her to go to a family reunion, and I had to go and ask her dad.
Daddy. Yeah.
And my wife's from my wife's parents are from Jamaica, so I had the Jamaican dad.
Tough.
That had the shotty like,
Yeah.
where you think you taking my daughter, and what time you think you gonna be back? So I understood the respect when you talked about the respect and, hey, Mr. Rose, I get that, and we don't have that now. And
They can bypass.
the little boys that think
bypass.
the little boys that think they can reach out to my daughters and have conversations. No.
Yeah.
I had a kid, true story, not too long ago, one of my daughter's friends, we call it back in the day, Dixie doorbells. We ring doorbell and run.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ding dong ditch.
Yeah.
yeah, that
Ding
one.
dong,
Yeah.
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 He did it right, and it's nighttime. And, unfortunately, these kids, they could be 13, 12, but look like they're like 18, 19.
Man.
Yeah.
Some in that water.
Yeah. And I see this grown looking kid at my door running off. And I think this is probably around COVID time frame. And I'm at, everything is weird around that time frame, So as a father of two daughters, I'm strapped up.
Yeah.
You're not gonna ring. I'm not playing them games. So I ran out to do the garage, like, who wanted and why? Because at this point,
The smoke's here.
COVID is. This is the height of COVID. Things are just weird.
It's
People are
different.
breaking
You
into
don't have
houses.
this all-
People are breaking into houses.
Yeah.
This is when the toilet paper was $20.
Yeah.
This is that.
Yeah.
This is that time
Yeah.
frame. So you don't know
What's going on?
what's going on.
Yeah.
And my job is to protect my family at all
Protection.
costs.
That's what it is. You're a protector.
So I run out there and come to find out it's my daughter's friend. And we look on the ring and she's like, that's my friend such and such. I said, call him. She's like, well, I said, call him now. So she get him on the phone. It's a little young man. And I said, young man, I said, you cannot do that this day and age. Definitely not. I live in Frisco. You can't do that in this neighborhood. I said, you lucky it was me.
Yeah.
Because somebody else will come out their door and just blast you. And it's their right to do so. Because
100%.
technically you're trespassing. They have no idea what you're doing. And they'll just light you up. And I gave him a lashing, a father, son, brother
Lesson.
lesson of, don't do that, bro.
Yeah.
community message.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And my daughter's looking at me like, I said, yeah. I said, because anything can happen.
Somebody need to tell him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to this day, you know, I see him now. He's like,
Yeah.
how you doing, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Because
what
now
you
you
built.
know,
You what you
I don't
built.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you
So
built.
we
from
got to
the
get
jump.
back. I mean,
Yeah.
we got to get back to that. And that's, you know, with my foundation, we focus on trying to grab the youth and instilling them of the importance of how to tie the tie, how to write your own resume, not relying on AI. You know, the cheat code is overwhelming right now. Everybody wants to do chat AI and
Chat GPT.
Yeah, like learn how to write your own resume. I understand it. I get it. And I may sound like a dinosaur sometimes. But there's certain things I tell my daughters all the time, like, y'all don't understand what we had to go through. You didn't have encyclopedias.
They don't even write in cursive.
Yeah, like
y'all have no.
They don't write in cursive.
we didn't have Google growing up.
Nah, encyclopedia. You don't know about no encyclopedia.
Yeah,
Nah.
Almanac.
I said, look, you don't know nothing about MapQuest.
Yeah.
Thomas guy, bro.
Yeah.
What you know about the Thomas guy?
The kids nowadays have it so easy. So I try to just instill in them the importance of where we come from, where we're going, and develop that foundation of just the principles of life. You know, for my daughters, I make sure they're involved with the community events, the philanthropy work that I'm doing. I make sure they're involved so they can understand you are privileged.
Yeah.
I worked this hard so you don't have to go through what I went through, but I want you to see what it is look like going through it.
Yeah.
I want you to identify somebody that doesn't have it all. Somebody that doesn't have a bike. Somebody that doesn't have a haircut. Somebody that doesn't have books. Somebody that doesn't have a turkey. So those are my proud moments of having them involved and passing out things. Last year, that extremely cold day out here in Dallas, we was out there passing out blankets to the homeless. They witnessed a young lady, probably in her 30s, with an infant child. And I say infant, the child probably was 3 months old. And this is when it was like 20 below.
Yeah.
Downtown Dallas, right in front of City Hall. And it broke them like. And I went and got some food and stuff like that. And they to see them understand that is vital.
Yeah.
Yes, like, wow. That's what struggle looks like. Yeah. So when we go back up to Frisco and y'all got everything that you desire, iPads and cell phones,
and you're bored or whatever.
Yeah, daddy, I'm bored.
Yeah.
You can't because somebody doesn't have half the things you have. So it's challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are girl dad, so it's
I got mine's a boy. I got an 11-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl.
Okay.
Right. And,
Yeah.
you know, I've been bringing them to the events also every time you do so I drive.
Yes.
So I make sure they understand same thing.
It's important.
100%.
It's important. Yeah.
We all got a story, right? My struggle. And I want to make sure y'all don't have to go out there and turn that water off, turn it on because mom ain't paid the bill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. I'm not putting my spectrum in your name.
Yeah.
Your cell phone's not your name, it's in mine.
Don't answer the door. They finna take the couches. Don't answer the door.
Yeah.
Renaissance. Yeah. We've been there.
Yeah. So, and that's what's huge about it, but also want you to see what the opportunity, why I'm doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also what I just said, that why is part of why I had to step out on my faith because I got why behind it, right? And you got the why, which is your son, along with the kid, foundation.
Yes.
Again, tell them how they can follow you again.
Follow me on all social media at DJ Kayotik. If you want to pick up the book, it's the website is ithadtohappen.com. Again, all social media platforms at DJ Kayotik, DJ Kayotik.
Hey, man, you got something you want to ask over there? You got anything?
Nah, because every time I was about to ask him, he already got
My
it.
bad.
Yeah, no, you good.
My bad.
I like it. The book, it had to happen. What's a man without a legacy?
Yes.
DJ Kayotik, what type of legacy are you trying to leave?
I want my legacy to basically be, sum it up, turning my pain into purpose. That is my legacy. How am I turning my pain into my purpose? Day in, day out. And I think throughout this journey that we call life, things I've gone through, things I continue to go through, things I plan to do, God willing, turning my pain into purpose. Everything I'm doing right now is a reflection of my pain and providing, instilling motivation, resilience, and purpose into others, and not shying away from that. So my legacy is turning my pain into purpose.
Like that.
This way I can sum it up. Yeah.
Turning pain into purpose.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably have had this question asked, but what would you go back and tell
My younger self?
What would you go back and tell him?
I would tell the younger Kareem Thompson that life is going to be hard. You're going to have a lot of ups and a lot of downs. Your faith is going to be tested, but you're going to be taught throughout this journey the importance of faith and how it's going to carry you to places that you never imagined. The strength that's going to be instilled in you is going to identify a will to win, but ultimately, you are going to be a vessel to help others. What you're going to go through is going to be a platform and a blueprint to help others recognize the power of God. And I think my younger self will look at me like, what?
What?
What does that mean?
What are you talking about?
You'll see.
It'll click.
You'll see.
You'll understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll know.
Like I said, my in the book, I didn't want to give too much. It's a very dark book.
Okay.
But
I'm excited for that.
Each chapter, there's a message behind it. Each chapter, it shows resilience. Each chapter, it reflects motivation. Each chapter has a point of, there's a wow. And then when you see me in the flesh, it's like, I cannot believe you're still here standing tall. Yeah, you can. God.
Yeah.
For those who don't understand the power of God, or whoever you may look up to, it does exist.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm a walking testimony of that. So it's the wow factor of any of each chapter of wow. And the book is still, I tell people all the time, it's 15 chapters. And I'm going to turn 50.
Look good, man. 50. Damn.
50, brother.
Like,
Damn.
Yeah, this is my first time putting it out there public.
Yeah.
Oh.
So y'all got
all right.
a nugget.
Right
Exclusive.
Yeah.
This is exclusive.
Exclusive.
I'm getting ready to turn 50 this year. And again, when he gives you an assignment and reveals how you're supposed to do things, God is very calculated, and I've learned that throughout the journey. This book was supposed to come out this year when I'm turning 50, the 10-year anniversary of my son's passing. It was all calculated. Being a New Yorker, the September 11th date kind of stood out for me. It's in the book of what I experienced when September 11th hit, where my mother was at, where I was at, how it impacted me as a kid, being from New York City, my mom's being 3 blocks away from the World Trade Center in the trenches, me losing contact with her for 6 to 8 hours. All that's in the book. So there's so many nuggets in the book of things that I went through that people will be like, how? Why? And then it ends with God.
That's how.
That's how. There's no other
That's
way.
it.
There's
but God.
nothing but God. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
It had to happen.com. Go
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Pre-order now.
Yeah.
And for those listeners, we got some for y'all
If
coming
you
out.
pre-order, you get a
Thank
sign.
Yeah.
Signed
Pre-order,
copy.
you get a signed copy.
Yes, signed copy. So I'm gonna be signing for the next 4 months. So, because like I said, the book comes out September 11th. So for the next 4 months, I'm gonna be all the pre-orders are coming. I'm signing away. But I'm grateful for it. For the ones that are pre-ordering, and even the ones that just get my book, like I'm elated. I'm just thankful for people that are willing to pick up the book and have a good read to just get to know me. But like I said, I think when they read the book, they'll see a lot of themselves in there. Relatable. It's relatable to those who have gone through it and they're going through.
Yeah.
From an adolescent to an adult, I show you the stages of life and what I've gone through. Like I said, it's dark, but it's dark, but God has a way of shining light through it all.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Push through.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Fifth told me when we was on tour, be the light.
Hmm.
He said, continue to be the light. He said, I go to your page every day for your inspirational posts. And you didn't even know it. And this is Fifth Troll. Yeah, this is that guy.
Yeah.
But he comes from a background of a praying grandmother and a praying grandfather. So it's in him. And when he told me, be the light, I got to continue to be the light.
Yeah.
I got to. So there's light. 15 chapters and my story's still being written.
Yeah.
I'm already on to the next book mentally. I'm already on to it. So, yeah.
That's good, man. I've enjoyed you sitting down, man. I really do, man. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you, fellas.
I really do appreciate you taking that time out, man. I've learned a lot. I'm really excited to get this book and learn even more.
Yeah.
Actually see, because I know you're just giving us a lot, but you haven't given us a lot, right?
Mm-mm.
So One last thing I want to ask you.
Okay.
What haven't you done that you know what? This is my bucket. This is what I would like to do next. This is on my not the book, not the next book. What's a bucket item that you haven't done yet?
I won't even say so much of a bucket item. It's something that was another assignment. So, as I mentioned earlier, my son drowned in a tragic accident in East Texas. 3 years ago, I want to say 3 years ago, 2 years ago, right while I was still on tour, I believe, or coming off of tour, my wife and I purchased land in East Texas. Not just land in East Texas. We purchased land footsteps away from the lake that my son passed away. So I'm going to build a legacy home in his honor. So that's my bucket list. I'm going to build a legacy home that my daughters will have, that I can leave to them. They can make it an Airbnb, whatever they want to do with it, but it will be a long-lived kid legacy home in his honor. Footsteps from the lake that where they found him. So,
Man, that's huge right there. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
huge
like
right
that.
there.
yeah. So as a man of God, as a black man, as a kid from Southside Jamaica, Queens, that did not have grass, lived in the projects, to own land was something for me. To own land where my son was at, where he took his last breath, is another. So, like I said, and it's literally footsteps. And when I purchased the land, I didn't know the proximity of where it was. And then we mapped it, and it's literally
Right
footsteps
there.
away
Yeah.
from where they found his body.
Wow.
Died.
Ain't nothing.
Ain't nothing.
What the website say?
It had to happen.
There it is.
It had to happen.com.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the assignments, that's like I said, it's just, it unravels. I can't take no credit for it. I can't sit and say, oh yeah, we're gonna buy land and build this. We're gonna go on tour. This is all him. It's all his design. I've just learned how to follow his lead and trust wholeheartedly. Give it to him and leave it there. I don't ask no questions. I ask for clarity.
Clarity.
Ask for
Can't
clarity.
ask questions. Yeah.
I just ask
yeah.
for clarity.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding.
Help me understand a little bit
Help
more
me
why I'm
understand
doing
a bit more
yeah.
why
Yeah.
I'm
I
doing
don't ask
it.
I'll
questions.
do it, Lord. I just want just help me
Just give me
understand.
some clarity.
Yeah.
Then he'll
Yeah.
put it right.
Ah,
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh.
You happy now?
Yeah.
I told you 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My fault.
God has a ill sense of humor.
Man, yeah, he does. Yeah. He might be a jealous guy, but he has a very good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my bucket list. And obviously just generational wealth. I want to be able to leave my kids and their kids and their kids something. It's important to me to be able to say, you own property, you have this, you have land, you have a fourplex in Shreveport. You have so many different things that you can call on and rely on. That's part of my legacy.
Yeah.
But all of it is reflective of my pain turning into my purpose. I wasn't privileged to be able to receive anything from my parents, and my mother's still here living, and I'm thankful for her being a superhero that she is. And she's retired with my stepdad, and I'm happy for her. But she wasn't in a position to leave me anything. So here I am, being the man of God to be blessed to be able to say, I'm gonna leave my kids and their kids and their kids something, and let them have a fresh start of, we have something tangible that we can grow from and build from. So
Ultimately,
all of it's bucket list for me. Leaving my kids something. They can say, Daddy left us a blueprint.
Yeah.
Now, what you do with it is what you do with it.
100%. Yeah. I left it for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already been here.
Yeah.
You want to add some things to the wheel, by all means do so. But you ain't got to reinvent it. The blueprint's already made up. Let's rock it.
I tell people now, throughout the course of my years, 2024 for me, I closed out. I made sure all my business was in order, from the LLCs to everything else. 2025 has been personal. Turning 50, dropping the book, going back on the road with Fifth. I expect he probably will slow down after this. He turns 50 this year. 50 turns 50.
50, 50, and 50, huh?
Yeah. So just lining things up. And ultimately, like I said, I'm going to go very heavy towards the end of the year. The fourth quarter for me is heavy philanthropy and beyond. The Kayotik Foundation has been out there since 2011. We've done some remarkable things in the community, but there's a lot more work to be done. And I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited for what's to come. So now I'm really just pouring into that more. You know, you know how it is. When you
Yeah.
step out on faith and you do your own business, yeah, you doing so much, but there's so
Doing
much
so
more
much
you
more.
can do.
Man.
And now it's like the work that I put into being DJ Kayotik, the brand, and Kareem Thompson, the husband and the father. Now I want to take that same energy and pour into philanthropy and building out my foundation to where I have not just staple events, but mental health seminars, mental health day. And like I said, those things have just been revealed to me in the last month or so based on the enemy attacking me.
Yeah.
Enemy attack, God revealed.
Yeah.
He can play all day long. God revealed an
God revealed,
assignment
yeah.
that the enemy doesn't want me to do. I got you, God. I see what you're doing. Thank you for revealing that. Because the enemy, he's trying to trick me out of my position.
Trying to tell
Won't
me to do something else.
happen.
Got you, God. All
Yeah.
right.
Like I said, all the stages, all the fame, all the glory, that means nothing to me. Being able to give back, being a philanthropist, being able to be relatable to my community is what I'm focused on.
That's
So
you.
that's
Yeah.
my bucket
Yeah.
list, growing out my foundation. When people say the Chaotic Foundation, they don't just think about turkeys, and it's a whole plethora of
whole
things
lot.
we're going to be doing. But mental health is now our focus.
Mental health is huge. I mean,
Nah,
especially
huge.
for
Mental
our
health is now our
community.
Yeah,
focus.
especially.
That's another exclusive. Nobody knows that. Like I said, so the foundation is going to be. I'm framing some things up and changing the mission statement and everything else. But and you know you've been involved with us, so get ready to
Yeah, I
rock
was
and
say
roll
if there's
with us.
anything that the
Polar
roofing
Bear
company, yeah,
Roofing,
Polar Bear
I
or
appreciate all the
us,
support you
anything.
guys have done.
Yeah.
We're moving
Yeah.
in a different direction
Yeah.
of just expanding our horizons, and mental health is going to be one of our focus
Anything that we
and our
can
biggest
do,
focus.
what we're here for.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
from the youth to the adults,
Yeah.
and the veterans. I just want to reel them in, share my story, and instill motivation to inspire them. Bring the ones that don't have that connection with God. Bring them to them. You know, God. I'm gonna lead them to the water. I can't make you drink.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna lead you to who has me standing right here and still standing tall. It's up to you to.
Yeah.
And that person may have their own story of being humbled and crumbled, but he's taught me to lead you to him. That's what I'm gonna do.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Hopping up on the show.
Thank you.
I don't want to take any more of your time, man.
No, I
Hopefully we
appreciate
can
you,
get you
God.
back on after the book drops or,
Yes.
later on down the road.
Absolutely.
Love to get you back on the show again, man. KJ, you got anything else you want to add, man?
No, I mean, I did have one more question.
Sure.
Just want to know, what would be your message to the next generation coming out? Creatives, DJs,
Next
philanthropists?
generation to creatives, DJs. Be authentically you. Authenticity is important. I think sometimes we try to be what we see on social media. Be you. Trust you. Believe in you and bet on yourself. When we try to mimic or mirror somebody else, that's when we fail or make the mistakes that we don't need to make. Be you. Be what God designed you to be. Don't be what you see somebody else is, because when it boils down to it, social media is trickery. Social media is people's highlight reels. They don't want to display their losses. They don't want to talk about their lessons. They want to glorify their wins. Life is not about the wins. It's more about the lessons and the losses. You'll have more losses and lessons than you will have wins.
100%.
100%.
So be you. For the creatives, the DJs, be authentically you. That's the biggest thing I can tell them. That's for my career as a DJ, radio personality, and beyond. Being authentic is what allowed me to win in that space. I didn't try to be something that I wasn't. He ordained me to be a host. He ordained me to be a DJ. He gave me that God-given talent. I just had to learn it, develop it, nurture it, and execute it the way he wanted me to do it. If I wanted to be like somebody else, you can't
Won't
fake it
work.
till you make it.
Yeah.
It won't work.
You can't fake it till you make it.
You think you can, but it don't.
It does not
It
work.
always comes alive.
It comes alive
Quickly.
Yeah.
Facts,
So
yeah.
just be authentic.
Be you.
Be you. Whoever he designed you to be
Be
that.
you. Be that person.
Be that person.
Yeah. There's a reason why he designed.
Your journey is your journey.
Yeah.
Your steps are your steps. And last but not least, for the young generation, stop looking at the fast track, the escalators and the elevators. Take the stairs. Step by step, brick by brick. You'll appreciate the journey better.
100%. You'll learn more.
That fast track approach is great. You can get to the bag faster. You can do this. dial it back and take that step by step. That's what's going to teach you the faith. That's what's going to teach you the obedience. That's going to make you resilient so you can persevere through the things. So, because you take the escalator or the elevator, when you hit that bump, you don't know how to recover because you haven't gone through the steps, the proper steps. That you gotta have some bruises.
Yeah.
You gotta go through the war. You gotta go through the train. You gotta walk through the storm.
Yeah.
Everybody, they want to grab an umbrella and not get wet. Nah. Sit in there. Walk through that
Walk in the
fire
rain.
and grab his hand. Walk through that rain versus grabbing an umbrella and saying, I'm gonna take the easy way out. So that's my little nugget for the new generation.
Hey, again, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Definitely appreciate you.
Make sure you guys go follow at DJ Kayotik.
Yes.
With a K.
With a K at the end. Yes, sir. Make sure you guys go check it out at ithadtohappen.com.
Yes, sir.
Go pre-order that book.
Yes.
Stay tuned. We're going to have some books for all the listeners as well. Again, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and share. Who they need to tell?
You need to tell your best friend.
Hey, this is Right Now Podcast, and we are out.
My brothers. Appreciate y'all.